Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com and welcome to another episode of Zombie Rebeloper. So it is Halloween and today we are going to talk about UITabBarController. So without further ado, let's get into the code. Okay, so first of all, let me just show you what we are going to build out today. And of course, if I haven't mentioned yet, we are going to do this all programmatically. Okay, so I have built Rebeloper store and this will be available in just a few videos. But for now, let me just build and run for you and show you the tab bar controller that Rebeloper store has. As you can see here, we have some consumables and then non-consumables, and if you tap on the middle, then you see auto-renewable subscriptions and of course non-renewable subscriptions. And this last one here is a bit tricky because we present an action sheet. Okay, and of course if we choose one, we are taken to our virtual goods and our secondary virtual currency. Now today we are going to build out this tab bar controller programmatically with a twist. Because it is Halloween, we are going to call it Halloween tab bar. So let's get into the code. Let me just stop this and let's create a brand new project. So go to File, New and Project. Okay, it will be a single view application and hit Next there and add the product name to pretty great. Okay, now click on Next and I will just drop it onto my desktop here, and I will create a Git repository because I want you to download the final project from my Git repository. So let's tap on Create there, so click on Create and here we are. What's first? Well, first of all, let me just resize this so you may see better what is on my screen, and we are going to get quickly rid of the main.storyboard, delete, move to trash. This is basic stuff I do always when I create a brand new project. So I go to app delegate and in the application did finish launching with options, I type in window equals UI window. And now let's make this window key and visible, so make key and visible. And let's create our view controller. So let vc equals view controller, and we will use for now the one that Xcode has prepared for us. And let's add this view controller to our Windows root view controller. Pretty straightforward stuff that we are going to present our view controller with. Okay, now let's add some good assets, because if you just go ahead and click the link down below, you will be taken to my site where you can download the assets for today's lesson. And once you do that, you will be presented with these flat UR colors with assets. So let us just drag and drop that into there. Let's create that with a finish. And finally, we have our Halloween service and some images. So first of all, let me just drag and drop this Halloween service. And I will go through it in just a minute. But before we do that, let us just copy all of these images and drag and drop them into your assets catalog. Great. As you can see, there are some spooky stuff going on right here. But before we go into these images, let me just explain what this Halloween service is. Well, it is quite simply put a UI alert controller on steroids. It is basically a static function, and we have an UI application extension to get the topmost view controller that will be used on the last section, well, I will put it in the middle, but you know, when we want to present this sheet alert controller, or you could pass in, of course, UI alert controller too, but we will get to that in just a moment. Now, let us just, for example, add a background to our view controller's view. So view dot background color equals, and I will just hit Shift Command M, and the media organizer will pop up, and the added flat UI colors will be shown. So let's see now. I believe this American River would be perfect, or maybe let's use this wet asphalt. Yes, that's what I like. So I just simply drag and drop it there, and we are off to a good start. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, let's build and run and see our simulator here. Great, we are ready. Now, what do I want to put on this view controller? Well, I want to add these images, and let me just go to the assets catalog, and you can see we have here Halloween 1, 2, 3A and 3B. You will get to know why I have named that in this order in just a bit. Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. Now I want to present these images in the center of our view controller. So for that I will use tiny constraints, and that is installed via CocoaPods. So I have stopped the project, closed my Xcode here, and let me just minimize the Rebeloper store. And let's just open up terminal here, and I will just make this a little bit bigger so you may see what I'm typing in more exactly. And first of all, let's type in CD and a space. Now, as usual, go to your desktop and select your root folder. So here it is, Halloween tab bar, and I will just simply drag and drop it into our terminal. Hit return, and now we want to create a pod file. So type in pod init. Okay, hit return, and your pod file will be created. So let's check that out. Here it is. Okay, now I will just simply drag and drop this into my Xcode icon, and it will be open in Xcode. Now I want to delete the hash there, so we may get access to the platform, and we will type that we need iOS 12. Now add a pod, so pod, and I will add simply tiny, with a capital T, tiny constraints. And I believe I typed that incorrectly. Let us just double check. So now type in pod init install. Sorry about that. Install in your terminal. So let's hit return, and it is installing tiny constraint, sending stats, and it should be ready in just a moment. And here we are. Let's go back to Finder, and as you can see, we have created a Halloween tab bar Xcode workspace. How scary is that? Now, let us just double tap on that, and we are going to work from now on with this Xcode workspace. Now, let me just show you. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Here we have our Halloween tab bar project, and here we have our code that we have added. Now I want to create a UI image view. Okay, let's just type in lazy var, and let's just call it image view, because this is the single image view that we are going to use. So it will be a UI image view, and let's close that and type in here var image view equals UI image view. Great, so let's return this and image view. Now, for now, let's just add, let's say, one asset here. So image view image equals, and let's just select our images here, so snippets, sorry about that. Oh, we just want to type in image literal, and now if you just double tap on that, we will see one of our images, and let us just select this one, the first one. Okay, hit return. Okay, I have chosen the cat. Okay, now let us just add tiny constraints, so we may constrain this image to the center and to a certain width and height. Okay, let's import tiny constraints first, and then let's add our image view. So view, add subview, image view. So we have added, now it's time to constrain it, and it is pretty simple with tiny constraints. So image view dot, first of all, center in super view. That is it. You have centered your image with one line of code. Now I want to set the width of the image view too. So image view dot width, and here we go. Let's say view dot frame dot size dot width, frame dot width, and let's see now 0.6. Let's see how that looks. Okay, now let's build and run again and see our cat inside our image view. Okay, here we go. Let's see our simulator, and there we go. Of course, we need to set the height too, so I will just create that here real quick. Height, and we are just simply going to copy and paste the same constant basically as we did for the width. Okay, now we are inside our view controller, and we do have this image ready to be set up. Now one last thing I want to add here in the view controller is that I want to have this image view as a variable. So I want to transfer it whenever I'm creating this view controller. So we are going to add this image not inside our, well, not with the cat. I am going to create a variable, and that will be image, and it will be a simple UI image, and it will be an optional. Now, if we do have an image, so if let image equals image, then we are going to set the image views image to be our image, and I'm going to pass on this image whenever I create a new instance of our view controller. And that is basically it for our view controller. Now it's time to create our tab bar controller. So let's right click here and select new file. It will be a Swift file. Click on next, and let's say main. Okay, let's create it, and let's import tiny constraints here. So, oh, you could simply import UIKit too if you wished. So here we have a class, and the name will be main tab bar controller, and it will be of type UI tab bar controller. Here we go. Okay. Now let's type in view did load and super view did load. This is basic instantiation, basic stuff that we need to add here. So what I want to do now is set up the view controller. So I create here a new function, set up view controllers, with a double L, not with a double O. So let me just copy this out and create it. Let's say should be a private function, so we should not access this from anywhere else. Now, there is a property on the tab bar controller, and that is called view controllers. So here we go, view controllers, and it is an array of UI view controllers. So we are going to add them here. First of all, let me just create an instance of our view controller. So let's see what should be the first one. Okay, let's just go back. Here we have a pumpkin. Rather yet, I would just simply create it as VC1. Okay, so let VC1, and that will be a view controller. Okay, and now I can set the image of this VC1 dot image to be our cat, so our pumpkin. So image literal, and I will just add this here, and I believe it should be this one. Yeah, I don't really know. Let us just comment out and see if this is Halloween one. Yes, because the other ones will be for the tab bar items. Okay, now let's just first of all, let us just add this view controller here and maybe just build and run it and see how it goes. Well, first of all, let's change our root view controller to be our main tab bar controller. Let me just rename this. And let's build and run and see what happens if we are ready. Oh, use of undeclared identifier. Let's see now. Let's go into main tab bar controller. Yeah, it didn't rename it. Let me just rename this. And we should be ready to test it out. Okay, let's build and see how it goes. Okay, we do have a tab bar controller. Okay, let's move on. Now we want to set the tab bar items image, and that is pretty simple. So VC1 dot tab bar item and image and equals to, and let's add an image literal again and select. Let's choose this one, and I will leave this will be it. Yes, main tab bar 1. That's just to double check. Now let's build and run again and see the issues that we are going to have here. Okay, first of all, this is a blue one. So to fix that, let us just type in a dot again and type in with rendering mode dot always original. Now Xcode will use always the original size, original image. Now another thing that we should fix is that this is a white tab bar item. Now let's go and set that up in app delegate, and under window.root view controller, let's type in and tint color equals to, and let's choose another color again, shift command M, and let me see here. Let's choose these flat UR colors asbestos. Okay. There we go. Let's build and run again, and this should fix it. Oh, sorry about that. It's not tint color, it's bar tint color. If auto completion goes right, bar tint color. Okay, let's build and run again. Here we go. We have this icon that is actually an image, and we have the new color of our tab bar. Okay, let us just see. So whenever you tap on this, you can have a different image set for it, but I won't bother doing that because we are going to use the same image. So let's just, for good coding practice, type in here VC1 tab bar item, and you need to add the selected image, but I will use the same. Okay, let's just copy this and paste it in there. Okay. Now we want to add another one. So I will just go ahead and fast forward it or rather yet, let me just copy all of this out. What I'm talking about. VC2, and let's change the images. So Halloween 2 and main tab bar 2. And the same goes for the selected image. Of course, you could change this to whatever you'd like on the selected image. Now let's add this to the array of our view controllers and build and run to test it out. There we go. Now let me just tap on this one, and as you can see, it has changed. Well, we are taken to the other view controller. Let's go back. There we go. Pretty fun. Now let's add the other three, and most probably I will fast forward this. Great. Now let's build and run and see it in action. Great. Now one thing to point out is for the VC3, I have temporarily added Halloween 3A. So let's just build and run and see it all in action. There we go. Here I'm tapping, 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 and tapping away. Great. Now, if you've noticed, this icon in the middle is a strange icon. It is half a ghost and half a cat. Now, that is what we are going to implement here, so we may choose where to go. For the ghost view controller or the cat view controller. And for that, we are going to need UITabBarController Delegate. And the delegate method we are going to use is tabBarController should, and I believe this is it, yes, should select view controller. Now let us just let unwrap our index. So let index equals view controllers index, and I will choose here of view controller. Okay, and for now let's just print out the index. Okay, let's build and run. Oh, one last thing. It has we need to add the view controllers as optionals, and we need to return, let's return true here. Okay, and finally we need to set the delegate on our view. So view, sorry about that, self dot delegate equals self. Okay, now let's build and see if we do get those printed out indexes. Okay, I will just make this a little bit easier for you to see. Let's go back to our simulator and let's tap on our first controller, and the second one, and that is it. Now I want to have this one, so let's step again. So it is 2. So we will have here an if statement. If index equals 2, then we should not go through the whole presenting of the view controller. Instead, what we are trying to do here is create a new view controller. So let's say vc3 equals UI view controller. Oh, not UI view controller, sorry about that. Just simple view controller. And let's see. Let us just present this view vc3 with an animated true and completion nil. Okay, and let's see, vc3.image. My bat went away, no problem. Image equals, let me just see here, image literal, and let's add our cat now. Okay, let's see if it is Halloween freebie. Yes. Now let me just build and run and see what we are getting now. Okay, here we go. And let's tap it, and if you recall, we have added the ghost to this view controller, but now we are presenting the cat. So let me just create a simple dummy view, and that is what I usually do. I just simply create a new file. Let's create that, and I will select mostly everything from here, Command C, and let's paste that in there. And now let's delete everything that isn't needed in this dummy view controller. Well, the image isn't needed, and this image layout isn't needed, only the color is needed. So once this will be not view controller, a dummy view controller. Okay, let's add that there. Okay, now let's go back to our main tab bar controller, and here for the VC3, let's add our dummy view controller. And of course, this doesn't have an image property, so we won't have that flicker of the ghost. Okay, let's wait for that and let's tap on it. Great. Okay, let's stop that now. And let's create our alert, so our action sheet. And that is pretty simple with the Halloween services. Halloween service and show alert. And I will choose this one because I want to add more actions, so more than one action. And this will be of type action sheet. And the title is choose one, and message, well, it should be a nil. Now here we have an array of actions, so let's create them. Our first action will be our ghost action, so ghost action, and it will be a UI action, UI alert action. And we will choose this one, and the title will be, let's say, ghost, pretty straightforward. And let's say it should be default. And the handler, we will have here an action coming back, and we will choose to present our view controller. So we'll just simply copy that out and paste it in. Of course, I still need to change the Halloween free B to Halloween free A, and that is the ghost. Now, let's just copy all of this action and do the same for the cat action. Here we go, cat, and let's see. Let's have this as the cat. Now, all we need to do is add our ghost action, and our cat action. Pretty straightforward. Now, I need to add here self because we are in a closure. Okay, finally, we want to create a console action. So console action equals UI alert action. Again, it will be console. And it will be of type cancel. So this will be bolded. And for this action we are giving back, but we shouldn't do anything. Let's say type in here cancel. Great. Now let's add this to the array. So cancel action. Now for the completion, we don't really want to know when this alert completes, so let's add here nil, and that should complete our action here. So let's build and run and see what happens. Okay, let's tap on it and it says choose one, ghost or cat. Let's choose cat. Okay, let's stop that, let's build and run again, and let's choose our ghost now. Great. So there you have it. You have created a UI tab bar controller for Halloween. How ghosty is that? Now, go ahead and comment down below. Do you like to create your UI tab bar controllers programmatically or with storyboards? I'm really eager to find out your opinion. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I dare you to hit that notification bell. Don't worry, you won't get scared if you do so. Now, as usual, I will see you in the next video without Bonnie here.